Welcome to NACTV Reads the News. My name is Gwen Jacobsen, and I'm one of many volunteers that help create programming for our station. NACTV can be seen on MTS Channel 30 or 1030, Westband Cable Channel 17, Bell Satellite Channel 592, or online at nactv.tv. These programs are made possible by our volunteers, our staff, advertisers, as well as donations made by you, the viewers. If you are enjoying your NACTV experience, please consider supporting us by either donation or volunteering. You can contact our office at 204-476-2639 or at nactv@wcgwave.ca. Now, this week's edition of the Neepawa Banner and Press is dated Friday, June the 2nd, 2023. We're into June already. Now, we have some beautiful pictures on the front page. A fair time was had by all. The Neepawa District Chamber of Commerce Fair took over the agricultural grounds from May 26th to May 28th. It was a good time. We took our grandkids there and it was fun. So there's kind of a aerial view of the area. They had new rides this year, which was a lot of fun. This dragon ride, face painting, some kind of a roller coaster that went right upside down. And back on this page, it shows another picture. There's the Ferris wheel. They had booths set up that you could play games to win prizes. They had a haunted house this year, which was fun. And of course, the town-wide garage sale that happened. And there was many homes that had garage sales. So that would have been a big plus for people coming to town. And it was a beautiful day also. So next, we're talking about Culture and Fun at Home in Neepawa by Casper Werhan. One of Neepawa's major cultures is gearing up for a big celebration on June 17th. That day will mark the 2023 edition of the local Filipino Heritage Month celebration put on by Filipino Heritage and Filipino Canadian Association of Neepawa and Area, also known as FCANA. The goal of the celebration is to share Filipino heritage with the Canadian community, educate first-generation Filipino Canadians, newcomers, and immigrants of their family roots, and to give a sense of home. Filipino Heritage Month was first recognized in Canada in 2018, with Neepawa's Filipino community beginning to celebrate in 2019. Since that first event, and even with the hiatus taken during the COVID-19 pandemic, the event has grown from a small celebration to a large event with up to 2,000 people in attendance in 2022. Not only have residents of Neepawa participated, but also those from neighboring towns. The support is really quite overwhelming in the first place, that we're not having a hard time getting support, especially in the financial aspect of the event, said Van Offang, FCANA chair. He said, but mostly nowadays the volunteers we are getting in and helping with other things that are needed for this event. Marianne Marquis Hunstead agreed, adding, the event really speaks for itself. People hear about it and they just go. They just volunteer and they just show up too. Afwang and Marquis Hunstead hope that this year's big event will break past the 2022 attendance record, and above all, for everyone who attends to have fun and enjoy the Filipino culture. We hope for more Canadians to join us and get introduced to our culture, understand our heritage, and hopefully we can incorporate our heritage with the Canadians. We really just want to invite everybody. It's for everybody, not just Filipinos, especially the town of Neepawa. Please, everyone is welcome. Fang added, we also want the younger generation of Filipinos to become a part of the legacy, to not forget about where we come from. June 17th will kick off with a parade starting at Riverbend at 1 p.m., featuring 8 floats representing different regions of the Philippines. There will also be street dancing and food, along with cultural presentations of singing, dancing, and games inside the Yellowhead Community Center at 3 o'clock. Along with the fun planned for that day, this year is also proving to be a learning experience for the organizers involved. Fang and Marquis Hunstead told the Banner and Press that for the first time, Filipino Heritage Month is a month-long celebration with events every weekend. The festivities began in May, with the most recent events being a successful tree planting at the High Life Back 40 and elimination rounds for the Women's and Men's Division WCG Filipino Heritage Volleyball League. I think a majority of the events were successful. There were a few hiccups, but this is a very good learning experience for us, said Marquis Hunstead. Additional volleyball games are being held on June 4th and June 11th at the Neepawa Area Collegiate Institute at 10 a.m., while basketball semifinals and championships, also at NACI, are on June 3rd and 10th respectively. A beauty pageant will also be held at the Yellowhead at 6 p.m. with limited space. This is the first year we are doing a beauty pageant. It is the first year that the LGBTQ2S+ community is very involved in the event, especially with the pageant. We are so thankful and appreciative of all their support and hard work. Any applicable event medals will be presented at the Yellowhead on June 17th in conjunction with the cultural presentations. New FCANA officers will also be introduced at that time. With such an extensive event, more volunteers are greatly appreciated. Anyone wishing to get involved can reach out to a Filipino Heritage or FCANA representative or get in touch with FCANA via its social media. Philcan of Neepawa and area. Sharing a final comment, Marquis Hunstead encouraged everyone to come out and enjoy the event, stating, "Join us. Everyone is very welcoming. We got welcomed here in Canada, so we want to pay that respect back. Plentiful thanks is extended to all who have supported Neepawa's Filipino Heritage Month, whether through sponsorship, individual support, grants received, or assistance given." This is just a picture of back in 2019 at Riverbend Park. It was part of the music and dance performances. So everyone should try to get involved in some of those activities. All right, there's an ad here talking about the 26th anniversary Little Valley Jamboree taking place June 17th from 2 p.m. till midnight and June 18th from noon till 8 p.m. It will be held at Erickson Rec Center in Erickson, Manitoba. This year, the 3 recipients are Caleb Bootsman, Jackson Amiot Bowles, and Roran Unra. And there's going to be lots of bands playing, so there's lots of music. Admission for the weekend pass for adults is $25. A day pass is $15, and youth 17 and under is free. For more information, visit littlejamboree.com or contact Colleen at 204-867-7764. There's camping available, first come basis. All right. And there's also going to be a musical presentation by NACI choral and guests, Neepawa Middle School Choir, NACI General Music Bands, and Emma Gale. This takes place at the Knox Church, Wednesday, June 7th at 7 p.m. with an open donation plate at the door. All right, out of Helen's kitchen this week, her topic is barbecuing salmon. Looking to feed your guests and wow them? Why not grill a whole salmon? It looks as impressive as it tastes, and it's much easier to make than you might imagine. Should you have leftovers, it tastes great cold the next day. Whole fish are usually less expensive than fillets, and the presentation is more impressive. This grilled salmon in foil method is great, as the foil keeps the fish skin from sticking to your grill grates and causing a mess. So she has a barbecued whole salmon recipe with garlic, lemons, dill, onion, butter, salt and pepper, and a whole salmon. And then you can also use foil to barbecue potatoes. So she has a recipe for that also, which is similar. Everything tastes better on the grill. All right, here's an RCMP article. On Wednesday, May 31st, RCMP released a statement related to an incident earlier in the month. On May the 1st, at approximately 7:45 p.m., Neepawa RCMP received a report of a UTV rollover. Officers attended immediately. Upon arrival at the scene, officers saw 3 females who had been ejected from the UTV in need of medical attention. Investigation has determined that the youths were traveling on Road 76 West, approximately 400 meters south of the Road 83 North intersection, when the UTV slid into the ditch, rolling several times. The driver and 1 passenger, both 14 years old, were transported to the hospital with serious injuries. The second passenger, a 12-year-old female, was transported to hospital with life-threatening injuries. On May 5th, 2023, she unfortunately succumbed to those injuries. None of the females were wearing seatbelts or helmets. The investigation is continuing with the assistance of RCMP forensic collision reconstructionist. That's too bad. All right, Your Listening Ear by Delcy Martin. This week it's entitled Filling Your Mental Gas Tank and True You. I'm writing to you after a period of absence and reflection. This year has been a whirlwind with a lot of intense emotion and a lot of loss. Therapists are notoriously bad at taking the advice that we would normally give clients, and normally when a client comes to me after a period of significant emotional turmoil and loss, I would recommend that they take time off from their obligations and reflect. This is what I did, and I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for staying with me. Self-reflection is an important aspect of mental wellness. But what do we reflect on when we take time away? One thing to reflect on is what things in your life fill your gas tank. You see, every difficult and emotionally challenging time you go through draws from your mental gas tank. Each thing that you do that brings you joy and personal fulfillment adds to that tank. If you get to empty or close close to empty on your mental gas tank, you are going to struggle with moving forward when you encounter your metaphorical mud or tough times that you must get to. It's not always immediately obvious what things in your life fill your gas tank, because sometimes these things take so much effort. When you are doing an evaluation of your obligations in life, some things you can ask yourself is, does this thing that I do align with my own personal values? Or is the input of personal satisfaction or help to others worth the output of time and effort on my part? Those of us who are perfectionists and helpers will try and take on more than their gas tank will allow. So it's especially important for us to evaluate our inputs and outputs from time to time. In that light, writing for the Banner and Press has been an absolute joy in my life. I believe that volunteers are the cornerstone of a healthy community, and I'm just so excited to be able to contribute to my future home of Neepawa, where I will be moving permanently at the end of June. I will be continuing with my column, but I'm pulling back to a monthly basis for now as I try and develop my private counseling practice called True You Therapy and Wellness Services. I am providing virtual counseling and wellness sessions in the province of Manitoba, and I would love for you to join me. I work with individuals and couples. I also provide professional development and workshops. I work with all sorts of folks with all sorts of mental wellness needs, so please feel free to reach out to me. I'm also continuing with my podcast with a less frequent release schedule, again, to maintain my own personal gas tank. I want to invite you to do some self-reflection today. Write down all the things you do in your life, your volunteer, your work, your hobbies, what you give to others, etc. And do your own gas tank evaluation. Are you putting enough juice in your mental wellness gas tank to be able to weather those stormy times? Are the things that you are doing aligning with your own personal values? If they don't align with your personal values, chances are that those things will draw from your gas tank rather than add to it. There are a lot of have-tos in our life, and that is part of being human. But we need to have enough want-tos or have-tos that add to our tank to be able to cope with the have-tos that draw from our tank. So Delcy Martin has a BA, a BSW, an MSW, and an RSW, and is a registered social worker, private practice therapist, and business owner of True You Therapy and Wellness Services. All right, so rural outtake page. It's called Opinion on Thickening Borders by Cam Dahl of the Manitoba Pork Council. The international agricultural landscape is witnessing a troubling trend towards protectionism. In past eras, protectionism was enabled through prohibitive tariffs that blocked trade. World Trade Organization, known as WTO, negotiations and bilateral trade agreements have largely eliminated tariffs from the protectionist's toolbox. But as evidenced by recent events, there are other ways in which trade can be impeded. California's Proposition 12 and proposed changes to Product of the USA labeling will thicken the border between Canada and the US, making trade more difficult and disrupting the integrated North American market. Some of the costs of these New measures will be carried by Canadian hog farmers and beef producers, who will both face price discounts, but they are not alone. At the other end of the supply chain, consumers will pay more at the grocery store, something no politician should want to be associated with, especially during a time of rampant food inflation. How did we get to this point? Have you heard about the road that is paved with good intentions? The new regulatory measures did not start out as trade barriers or with the intent to punish consumers, but this is where we have landed. For example, Californians who voted for Proposition 12 likely did so because they were convinced by a few activists that modern regulations do not consider the welfare of animals being raised for meat consumption, despite the science to the contrary. The result is not improved animal welfare standards, but arbitrary requirements for raising animals. Proposition 12 is not consistent with the rest of North America, including other U.S. states, Canada, and Mexico. This means that if farmers, processors, and retailers want to supply the California market, they will need to segregate products. If other states implement their own version of the regulations, as is expected, supply chains will face multiple segregations across the continent rather than a harmonized North American market. Segregating production, processing, and retail will reduce consumer choice, increase consumer prices, and drive down farmers' returns. Manitoba's hog farmers join with other pork organizations in calling on Canada to respond assertively to California's Proposition 12. All potential measures to stop the fragmentation of the North American market must be taken, including challenges through the WTO and the Canada-United States-Mexico Agreement. We have successfully confronted protectionist U.S. regulations in the past. Canada and Mexico successfully challenged U.S. mandatory country of origin labeling at the WTO by demonstrating that the law was discriminatory against Canadian and Mexican hog and cattle farmers. However, the fight against discriminatory labeling is not over. Today, a ham can be labeled product of USA if the animal from which it is derived was processed in the US, even if it was born in Canada. This approach recognizes the consistency between Canadian and American food safety regulations and high standards for raising animals. But this is about to change. Proposed amendments to U.S. regulations would require meat that carries the label to be derived from animals exclusively born, raised, and processed in the United States. Manitoba hog farmers have long-standing, mutually beneficial relationships with our customers in Iowa, Minnesota, and other states, but these relationships won't count if the U.S. processors and retailers demand that their suppliers adhere to the terms of the new label. Manitoba Pork holds that if this occurs, the new label will be voluntary in name only, and the millions of dollars in damage caused by mandatory country of origin labeling will occur. I am concerned that the revised labeling regulations not only undermine the integrity of international trade, but also mislead consumers who may mistakenly believe that imported pork is of lower quality. The new challenges faced by meat exporters, including Manitoba hog farmers, are not isolated incidents, but rather part of a broader trend of growing international protectionism in agriculture. Many countries are adopting protectionist policies that prioritize domestic industries at the expense of global trade partnerships. Canada needs to fight back. There is a provincial election coming in Manitoba. Manitoba Pork calls upon all parties to prioritize the preservation of our international agriculture and agri-food markets when setting platform policies. Federal, provincial, and territorial agriculture ministers are meeting in July. The issue of rising protectionism and the thickening of the Canada and U.S. border should be a top agenda item at this meeting. It is vital that governments work together to dismantle barriers and promote an inclusive agricultural trading system. By doing so, we can ensure a prosperous future for farmers while providing consumers with the quality products they deserve. Okay. That's quite the article. Carberry, what's happening here? 40 grade 6 to 8 Carberry Collegiate students participated in the University of Waterloo Gauss Math Contest, G-A-U-S-S, Gauss, I'm thinking, on May 24th. The Gauss Math Contest is a prestigious competition written by math students across the globe. Pictured here are the winners. From left to right are grade 8 category first, Taven McCutcheon, right here. Second, Ethan Clark, tied with Josiah Glazer. Certificate of distinction went to Danica Elmhurst, Ella Baker, and Carter Curtis. In the grade 7 category, first place winner Blake McNevin, second place winner Daniel Bosch, and tied for third place Dauphin Smart and Charlie Unraw. Wow, congratulations to you all. That's awesome. And here's another awesome thing that happened. This was in Neepawa. Home Hardware officially celebrates grand opening by Owen Devereaux. Almost 2 months to the day after the doors first opened, Neepawa's new and improved Home Hardware Building Center has now formally been welcomed to the community. An official ribbon cutting ceremony was held on Wednesday, May 24th for the 20,000 square foot store and lumber storage facility. A large group of community members, along with Home Hardware franchise owners from across Western Canada, attended the celebration. For Michelle Girard, the co-owner and operator of the Neepawa Home Hardware, this night was a culmination of several years of planning and hard work. She said she's so proud to be able to share this special day with the community and all of those who made it a reality. It was overwhelming to see that much support. Everyone there at the ribbon cutting played some part in my journey to build the new store. The town of Neepawa, staff and council, Neepawa and area planning, all of our trades, Home Hardware Corporate, all of my fellow home hardware dealers and friends, and my family. They all supported me and helped me so much through the years, in big ways and in small ways, but I couldn't have done it without them, stated Girard. I really felt like it was such a great way to celebrate with the people who supported me and helped me achieve my dream. When you find people who support you in business like that, I feel very lucky. The new Home Hardware Building Center is on 3.5 acres of land close to the junction of the Yellowhead Highway and Veterans Way. It is nearly double the size of the old space, which was located on Hamilton Street. The ownership group consists of Michelle Girard as the major operator of the business, Daryl Girard, Alan and Echo Chen, and Dave and Jessica Odette are all partners in its ownership. So here we just have a few pictures of of the ribbon cutting and the opening. Congratulations to them. All right, now we have an article called Overwhelming and Beautiful by Casper Warhan. Carberry was home to a touching culmination of love, memory, and passion recently. On May 27th, people from the rural community as well as the surrounding area gathered at Waugh Elementary School to participate in a walk/run in honor of Kalena Green. The event was both a celebration of her life and adventurous spirit, as well as a fundraiser for the Carberry Splash Park Committee. This beneficiary was chosen due to Kalena's love for swimming and her close relationship with the Carberry pool. Although an official participant count is not currently available, hundreds were confirmed in attendance. This show of support left Kalena's sister, Jera, awestruck. "Holy smokes, it's really overwhelming in such a beautiful and positive way," she confided. "It's really heartwarming. It's incredible, really." Jera added, "From the bottom of my heart and on behalf of my family, thank you so much to everyone who supported us through this. Everyone has lost someone. Our hearts and sympathies go out to them too." The day was full of smiles, hugs, and laughter as attendance steadily grew ahead of the 3 p.m. start time. Everyone in attendance had the opportunity to donate, sign a guest book, and share a message with Kalena's family or memory of her. The late Fako Burma, whose funeral was scheduled for the same day, was also recognized during the event's opening. Burma was a well-known member of the community. In addition to the physical and verbal support shown, Jera was also blown away by the monetary response. As of Friday, May 26, we've raised $3,828 just through t-shirt sales alone. It's amazing. Over the last few weeks, the Neepawa Health Center was hard at work too. As of the morning of May 27th, $800 was raised to contribute to the cause. A full count of all monetary donations is currently pending. Sharing a final comment, Jera wished to extend gratitude once again, stating thank you truly to everyone, not just from Carberry, but everyone in the surrounding area. We've had such a wide range of support and I can't thank you enough. And here's a picture of them. Weather held up favorably for the memorial fundraiser for Kalena Green. The group was led by Jera Green, family and friends, making their way through the town of Neepawa. And then a couple other pictures here. Now here we have a family. It says Abunda Bullseye. Oh, Neepawa family attends National Darts Champions. By Casper Warhan. A Neepawa family has much to be proud of recently. Karen and Arnell Bunda, along with their daughters Keisha and Carol, have recently returned from St. Hyacinthe, Quebec. The special occasion for this round trip was the Youth National Darts Championships, in which both Keisha and Carol competed as part of Team Manitoba. "We're very proud of them both. They played well," said Arnell. Prior to the Nationals, Keisha was declared the 2023 female provincial champion. Carol also earned high commendation at the provincials, taking home second. Results for the Nationals saw Keisha finish second in Canada, and Carol won her fair share of games as well, securing points for the team. Both went to the semifinals for the World Qualifier too, said Karen. So they had a chance to represent Canada too. Keisha and Carol aren't the only two who have been competing. Both Arnell and Karen are also members of Team Manitoba's adult divisions. After their own successful provincial competitions, the pair are preparing to take part in their own national competition. They will see the family return to St. Hyacinthe, Quebec, with Arnell and Karen aiming to bring home the gold. Oh, we're just so excited about all of this, said Karen. We've played for 7 years in the Philippines and got here last year. It was so great to be able to go to the nationals with our daughters and to be preparing to go there again. Arnell agreed and explained further. We started playing last year here in Neepawa, and there were a lot of young people interested, including them. The Bunda family is eager to see how the next competition will turn out. Well, good luck. Congratulations and good luck to the mom and dad. That's wonderful. All right, we have something on a sports page here. Neepawa Titans auto protect a pair of players by Owen Devereaux. The Neepawa Titans hockey team have announced their 2023 auto-protected players in advance of the annual MJHL Bantam Draft. Each year, all 13 of the member clubs of the league are given the opportunity to list 2 players from their respective home zone. The 2023 Auto Protect list features 16 players born in 2005 who will no longer be eligible for the upcoming Bantam Draft. The teams do have the option to decline an auto protect selection and defer that pick to round 7 or 8 of the draft. This year's auto protect list contains a total of 10 forwards, 5 defensemen, and 1 goaltender. For the Neepawa Titans, they auto protected Addison McIntosh from the Yellowhead Tripoli Chiefs and Cohen Kulbaki of the Neepawa Area Collegiate Institute Tigers for auto protection. Last season with the under-18 Chiefs, McIntosh accumulated 24 points, 12 goals, 12 assists over the course of 47 games. As for Kulbaki, he had 42 points, 21 goals, 21 assists in 43 games for the Tigers last season. Next for the Neepawa Titans will be the 2023 MJHL Draft, which is scheduled for Sunday, June the 4th. This year, Neepawa holds the 4th pick in the first round. Oh, that's pretty good. All right, next, this is about the Santa Clara Baseball League. Rempel wins pitcher's duel in Cubs home opener. And here's a picture of the pitcher, Garrett Rempel. He won his first game of the Santa Clara baseball season by allowing just 4 hits over 7 innings against the Austin A's on Wednesday, May 24th. It was an instant pitchers classic in the Santa Clara Baseball League on Wednesday, May 24th between the Neepawa Cubs and the Austin A's. Neepawa's Garrett Rempel and Austin's Alex Clausen each put up spectacular complete game efforts on the mound for their respective clubs. In the end, however, it was a final inning push from the Cubs that secured them a well-earned 3-2 win in their home opener. In the bottom of the final inning, with 2 out and 2 on, a Lincoln Murray hit into right field just barely missed the outstretched glove of the diving Austin outfielder. That allowed for the pair of Neepawa base runners to cross the plate and seal the win. This late scoring was the Cubs finally taking advance of its opportunities, as they had stranded 6 other runners on base over the course of the game. Another huge factor in Neepawa's inability to score was due to the efforts of pitcher Alex Clausen, who struck out an impressive 12 batters over 7 innings. Not to be outdone, Neepawa's Garrett Rempel countered Clausen by registering 8 strikeouts of his own, along with allowing just 4 hits over 7 full innings. After the game, Rempel said it was a great back and forth out there. He said, Clausen put up a great game out there, and in a situation like that, all you can do is focus on what you have control over. I focused on throwing strikes and trying to get out of the inning as quickly as possible. I had some help because we played some real good defense out there in the field, stated Rempel. We just stayed positive in the dugout and we were able to take advantage eventually. And a massive offensive onslaught in the this is another game between Plumas and Neepawa. Plumas won 11-1 over Neepawa. A massive offensive onslaught in the 5th inning powered the Plumas Pirates to a dominant 11-1 win over the Neepawa Cubs on Friday, May 26th. Zach Yando led the way for Plumas, going 3 for 5 at the plate and collecting 3 RBIs. Pitcher Riley McBride, however, picked up the win, surrendering just 4 hits over 5 innings and striking out 5 Neepawa batters. So right now in the standings, Plumas is in first place, Portage is in second, Austin third, Neepawa fourth, Minnedosa fifth, and Carberry sixth. But it's still, at the beginning of the playing season, so that will change. All right, back on track. Neepawa hosts Zone 7 Track and Field Championships. It doesn't have an article, it just has 3 pictures here. Schools from across Zone 7 region were in Neepawa on Tuesday, May 30th for the Regional Track and Field Championship. The day's results were not available before the publication deadline, but should appear in a future edition of the Banner and Press. So probably next week it'll be in that one. And here's a few pictures from Clear Lake. Clearly, the best destination for the family this summer has to be Clear Lake, complete with shops, restaurants, and a variety of accommodation options, as well as a beautiful beach and backcountry treks. Clear Lake is easy to access and stunningly scenic. Here is a view from the wishing well, the wishing well of boaters out at Deep Bay. Here is Parks Canada staff keeping busy upkeeping the gardens in front of the RMNP Visitor Center. And here is a picturesque garden and walking path through Clear Lake. All right, what else do we have in this paper this week? Here's a really old picture of Gladstone. This picture showcases how, wow, look at this. This is the business district in Gladstone where it appeared, it looks like around 1902, they think. That's amazing. Doesn't look like that anymore. What else? Saw that. Okay, well, let's go back to this page and we'll read these articles. Okay, I'll read Rita Friesen's article, Homebodies. This week it's entitled, And Now It's June. One of the better activities I have committed to has been the Kinsman Walking Program, Maykin 2023. For a very modest fee, which enhances programs in our community, I challenged myself to walk about 5 kilometers every day. It has worked wonderfully well. Last year I attempted to compete with others and would get annoyed and discouraged. This year, I applaud all those who walked literally hundreds of kilometers in May, identify with those who have simply done their best. There are about 170 registered individuals in the program, and I may end up in the top 30. The satisfaction has been in being a part of the change from almost winter/early spring to summer. My standard route is down Railway to the back 40, turn, circle the back 40, swing east of the cemetery, accompany the river to the 75 stairs at the Touchwood complex, and back home. The arrival of the birds has always spoken to me. First, the Canadian geese vied the skies, their distinctive call causing me to pause and watch their flight. The robins returned, as did other songbirds, and then the swallows. My grandmother always told me I couldn't go barefoot until the swallows were back, and I still follow that adage. I watched the pussy willow develop the white pods, watched those pods turn a fuzzy green and then become leaves. I noted the day the leaves on the oak trees were as large as a squirrel's ear, the sign that it is safe to plant your corn. Also an old adage. I snapped a photo of the first marsh marigolds and then noted the wood violets and then the cowslips. Lately, it has been the fragrance of the lilac bushes that slow my pace. The river raged for a week, always within its banks, but in a frightful hurry. The chokecherry trees and the Saskatoon bushes greened and bloomed. Daily changes in the landscape made me more aware of my surroundings. The being outside is good for my spirit. I slow in thought and reflective. The warmth of the sun, the tug of the wind, and the shift in the direction of the setting sun all remind me of my place in creation. Walked in the rain a few times with raincoat and boots, walked with a moderately heavy jacket, and walked with the sleeveless t-shirt. All in a month of walking. I met other walkers. I stopped to chat with neighbors. I walked errands rather than taking the car. Not saying I wish this for a lifestyle, but I do enjoy walking when time allows. As many of us did, I felt the past winter was long. It was not unnaturally cold. It was not filled with unending storms. It did not start early or end late. It was simply long. And so this challenge to myself to make a habit of walking for pleasure and purpose helped adjust my attitude. I feel better physically for the regular exercise, and I feel better mentally for the regular exercise. The question now is, will I maintain the habit? Okay, Faithfully Yours by Neil Stroshine. This week it's entitled, The First Years Are the Important Years. Give me the child until he is 7, and I will show you the man. So said the Greek philosopher Aristotle, who lived from 384 to 322 BC. Those words have been echoed by philosophers, educators, social scientists, and others ever since. But are they true? In a December 2017 article I found on the Healthline website, a psychologist, Dr. Julie Fraga, wrote the following. While the first 7 years don't determine a child's happiness for life, the rapidly growing brain lies down a sturdy foundation for how they communicate and interact with the world by processing how they're being responded to. By the time children reach first or second grade, they begin to separate from primary caregivers, also known as parents, by making friends of their own. They also start to long for peer acceptance and are better equipped to talk about their feelings. In other words, the first 7 years of life are crucial to a child's development. Many of the ideas, values, and philosophies that determine how a child thinks, speaks, and acts will be embedded in his or her mind by that time. Aristotle may have put this truth into words, but he was not the first to reveal it and tell people how to use it effectively. That honor falls to Moses, ancient Israel's lawgiver. He gave his people the following instructions. First, they were to keep God's laws. Second, they were to teach them to their children and grandchildren. Third, they were to have written copies of the law on their wrists and foreheads. Fourth, they were to write God's laws on the doors of their houses and on their city gates. Fifth, they were to talk about them openly. And sixth, when their children asked why they followed certain customs and obeyed certain laws, they were to tell the stories of how these laws came into their possession. In giving these instructions, Moses established a principle that is as valid today as it was when first given. God expects parents to teach their children how to love God and keep His commandments. And since young children learn by following the examples of those they trust, parents must consistently govern their lives by the principles of Scripture if they want their children to grow up and do the same. The best gift parents can give their children is to let children see how their parents love each other, respect each other, communicate with each other, and work out their problems in a civilized manner. What your children see in you during their first 7 years will lay the foundation on which you can build additional teaching when appropriate. You can't ask for anything better. Don't expect your children to be perfect. Their parents aren't perfect, so the children will have some flaws as well. Physical growth is a long life process. So is emotional and spiritual growth. Children will make mistakes. Give them the freedom to fail. Then show them how God forgives by forgiving them, and tell them about the lessons you learned when you were their age and made the same mistakes. Show them how you use the Scriptures to help you discern what is right or wrong when making difficult decisions. Most of all, teach your children that there are 3 people who will never let them down. The first 2 are their parents, who will always be there for them no matter what. The third person is the God who created them and who has promised that He will never leave them or forsake them. Now, we have an article here by Joel Asselstein, Blowing the Dust Off, and this week it's entitled, Watch Your Words Online, the Implications of AI Monitoring. In 2021, the Georgia Institute of Technology published a paper titled Deep Entity Classification, Abusive Account Detection for Online Social Networks, discussing the use of AI, which stands for artificial intelligence, to combat online bullying, misinformation, and racism on platforms like Facebook and Twitter. This AI-based system, which determines the political correctness of user content before it is posted, aims to prevent harmful online behavior. Recently, on March 25th, 2023, publicly available May 25th, Microsoft patented a similar model for its products, application number 17/705146, indicating that AI might monitor using actions on Windows computers. AI, or artificial intelligence, refers to computer systems designed to mimic human intelligence. It involves the development of algorithms and models that allow machines to process and analyze data, recognize patterns, and make informed decisions. The human brain operates at 1 exaflop, that's a billion calculations a second. Computers will surpass this in the year 2025 to 2030 if we continue at Moore's law, saying that computers will double in speed and power every 2 years. While there are potential benefits to this AI monitoring, it is crucial to acknowledge the potential dangers. While it can be advantageous to eliminate predators, scammers, and those with malicious intent, as well as combat online bullying and false information, there is a significant risk of abuse. Governments could exploit this technology to silence individuals while opposing views. AI already possesses the capability to infer geographical location based on speech patterns and sentence structure to some extent. If widely accessible, this technology could empower dictators and political saboteurs to eradicate any chance of meaningful debate. The unregulated use of AI is a cause for concern. These autonomous programs silently monitor and label our lives, our behaviors, our ideologies, and preferences and mentalities based on our online actions. The lack of parliamentary regulation exacerbates these risks. It is crucial to understand that the potential consequences of unchecked AI are reminiscent of the plot lines found in the Terminator series. Although we have not entered the Skynet era, it is evident that our freedoms are gradually being eroded. However, it is important to clarify that this article is not intended to discredit AI entirely. AI has significantly enhanced various aspects of modern life and professional fields. For instance, adaptive AI systems in Korea double-check doctors' work, considering factors such as location, occupation, and age, resulting in a 98% correct diagnosis rate compared to the previous rate of 95%. If implemented in America, this could potentially lead to around 360,000 more correct diagnoses per year. In conclusion, we must remain vigilant about the consequences of our online words. While AI monitoring has its merits, the potential for misuse and abuse must not be overlooked. Stricter regulations are necessary to prevent the erosion of our rights and to ensure AI serves the greater good without becoming a tool for oppression. Yes. We have one thumbs down, thumbs up. A thumbs down to the parking lot at the Yellowhead Center. We attended the junior high track meet recently and parked as close as we could to the track. I challenge whomever is responsible for the maintenance of the Yellowhead parking lot to drive 10 times around the Yellowhead rink and hall at a speed of 10 miles an hour. A shame to the community. I really feel for those high school drivers who park there and the school bus drivers. Submitted by Brenda Nicholson of Neepawa, Manitoba. Yes, well, we have a lot of frost boils coming out in a lot of parking lots, that's for sure. Okay, one last article before we are done this week's reading is by Ken Waddell, right in the center. This week's, it is called Thought Dictators. First, a disclaimer. The views expressed in this column are the writer's personal views and are not to be taken as being the view of the Banner and Press staff. The world is polluted today with thought dictators and nobody likes them. It doesn't matter what a person's beliefs are, they don't like to be told what they must think, what they must say, and perhaps more important, what they must not say. Alberta's election was held Monday night and wasn't won by the party that the thought dictators predicted or wanted to win. The corporate media, academics, and many pundits told Alberta they must vote NDP. After all, the United Conservative Party had the audacity to say they don't agree with the Liberal NDP propaganda. We must accept, perhaps even love the carbon tax, in spite of the fact it has a lot more to do with tax than carbon. The Liberal/NDP coalition in Ottawa insists we must bow down at the climate change altar, put our lives on hold so more taxes can be squeezed out of every person, farm, and business in the land. We must subsidize EV battery factories, subsidize electric cars, even though they are basically useless in rural areas and dangerously impractical on the prairies. Some EVs, that means electric vehicles, can't even make it from Brandon to Winnipeg in cold weather. But something happened on the way to the election polls. People said, no way, we're not going to buy this bullplop. And as people expressed that impolite expletive, they didn't care whose sensitivities might be offended by hearing the BS word. Several CBC commentators, including a former Calgary mayor, dropped their impartiality facade to come to promote the academia/labor/NDP politically correct stance on everything from gas and oil to mining to electric cars to social issues. The people spoke, but in a very quiet way. The UCP won a majority in spite of the thought dictators. A quiet movement is sweeping across North America. For example, a beer company recently tried to boost its sales by riding on the coattails of fame related to a TikTok content creator. This online celebrity is viewed by some as an advocate for the transgender community, though within that same community disagree. But that's another conversation for another time. Either way, some people didn't like that idea, and sales in the United States dropped. A big store chain tried a similar idea, and sales dropped. One report says that the two companies lost $28 billion in stock value. I find that hard to believe, but even if it is a half or a quarter of that amount, it's a huge financial rebuke. Investors expressed their view dramatically, all but quietly. Most people believe that we should live and let live. Where the problems arise is when the thought dictators come sweeping in. People can do just about whatever they want, and it's more evident than ever before that freedom of choice is rampant. What the thought dictators don't realize is that while people can do almost whatever they want, nobody is obliged to go along with ideas they don't like. We are bombarded with ideas, thoughts, and trends that we must adhere to, or else we will be declared bad people. We will be shunned, ostracized, excluded. Whether it is an election or consumer preferences, the thought dictators can't control people and influence decisions nearly as much as they assume or desire. That's a good thing, and recent elections and consumer decisions are a source of encouragement. The thought dictators can beat their brains out trying to control us, but it will not happen. We should be thankful for that. So, that is it for this week's edition of the Neepawa Banner and Press. So I'll say thanks for joining us, and hopefully we'll see you next week or another time. So bye for now.